Today we're going to multiply matrices. How do we do those? Alright, well, it's not too bad, a little tricky, but first and foremost, if this does not exist, then we can't multiply them. Okay, there's something that has to happen first. This requirement is if we have two matrices, and let's just call this matrix A and matrix B. These are the dimensions here. If this doesn't exist, if this is different, then you can't multiply them. You have to have excuse me, the inside numbers matching the column of the first one and the row of the second one. Okay? If those are the same numbers, the same dimension, then your resulting matrix, your product matrix if you will, is going to be this dimension. It's going to be the outside number dimension. It's going to be a 1 by 4. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now let's take a look at it. Let's do an example. We don't need that. What if we? Let's see. Let's do this one. Do a simple one first. Well, they're all not too bad. Just looking at if we can do it or not. If we can multiply these two. Oh yeah, that's fine. All right. So I have a matrix A and a matrix B. And can we multiply them? Well, the dimension here is we have one row, we have two columns. That's a 1 by 2. B, we have two rows and one column, so that's a 2 by 1. Well, I think it's easy to see here that these two inside numbers are the same, and since that's the case, I know my resulting matrix, which would be matrix AB, would be a 1 by 1. Alright, good. Let's do one more. 2, 5, 1, 4, 3, 1, and 1, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 2, 3, 1. Okay. Can we multiply them? That's all I'm looking at right now. Well, two rows, 1, 2, 3, 3 columns. This is a 2 by 3. 1, 2, 3 rows, 1, 2, 3 columns. This is a 3 by 3. We have a square matrix. Okay, anyway. Can we multiply them? Well, these two inside numbers do look the same to me, 3 by 3, so we can. And our resulting matrix are going to be the outside numbers. Alright, let's try another example, and well, let me show you how to multiply these things now. Alright, we find out, great, we can multiply two matrices. Well, how do we do it now? Okay, well, to multiply matrices, define matrix AB, if you will, if we have, excuse me, matrix A and matrix B. I'm going to multiply the elements of each row in the first one by the corresponding elements in the second one. And then what we do is we add up those products. Let's before we do an example, let's just take a look at this little template I have, if you will, and see how that ties into what I'm trying to say here. Well, first, before we do anything, let's make sure we can multiply this. So, let me just pick a color here. For matrix A, it looks like we have ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We have 4 rows and we have 2 columns. So matrix A is a 4 by 2. Hopefully you're getting good at this by now. We have 2 rows here, we have 3 columns here. That's a 2 by 3. Well, if you look here, we can multiply them. The inside numbers are the same, and the resulting matrix, which is going to be matrix AB, is going to be a 4 by 3. Okay? And if you look what we have here, that's exactly what we have. This is the product right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We have 4 by 3. Okay? Great. Now, what do we do with that? Well, if you notice here, if I'm going to populate this, that element in my matrix, the product matrix, that's right there is the first row, and it's the second column. So what we do is we take the first row here of A and the second column of B, and we're going to do what it says up there. We're going to take the products of the corresponding elements, and then we're going to add them up. Okay? And once we do that, that's the answer that goes there. Over here, for the answer matrix, this is the third row and the third column. So what we'll do there is we'll take the third row of the first and the third row of third column of the second and repeat the process. We're going to multiply the corresponding elements and add up their products. That answer goes there. Let's leave this template over here on the screen so we can use it to guide us. And we're going to do an example. And I'll do the same dimensions so we can kind of tie it in, if you will. So here's our example. We're going to find AB. Okay? And let's call AB, how about 2, 0, negative 3, 5, 7, 1. Oops, I'm sorry, we've got to do 4 rows. So how about 1, 2. Let's keep the numbers smaller. Okay, there's a 4 by 2. And then we need a 2 by 3. So how about we do 6, 1, 4, negative 2, 1, 1. Okay, and that's a 2 by 3. So this would be matrix A, and this would be matrix B. And our resulting matrix has to be the same there. It's going to be a 4 by 3. So I'm going to, let me change colors here. I'm going to draw that template in our product matrix. It is going to be 4 rows, and it's going to be 3 columns. So this is how many elements are going to be in our answer matrix. Product matrix. Alright, let's do it. So for the first one there, we're going to take the first row of the first and the first column of the second. And if I do what I just said, we're going to take 2 and 6, and that's going to give us a 12. And we're going to add to that, that's an addition, the product of this one and this one. So that's 0 times negative 2. Well, 0 times anything is 0. Okay? So that first element in our answer matrix is 12. 12 plus 0. What if we did the next one in the row? Well, that would be, let me just change the color so we can see it. That would, for this one right here, we're going to take, well, that's the first row and the second column. So we take the first row and the second column. And then we do the same thing. We're going to take 2 times 1 is 2. And we're going to add to that the product of 0 times 1. Well, like we said, 0 times anything is 0, so that element is 2. For the first row, third column, we're going to take the first row and the third column. Okay, and that would give us 2 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And, well, we get a 0 times something again. 0 times 1 is 0, so that's just going to be 8 right there. Okay, the next one. How about orange? So for this one right here, we're going to take, that's the first row and the second row and the first column. So second row, first column, negative 3 times 6, plus 5 times negative 2. Negative 10. I did that right. Negative 18 and negative 10. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be what? Negative 28. And for the next one, I think you get the idea here. So we're going to take here, that's going to be a negative 3 and a 1. So this one is negative 3 times 1 plus 5 times 1, which is 5. Okay. And then we have negative 3 times 4. Let me just get this in case you don't see it. For this one right here, this is the second row and the third column. So we're taking the second row and the third column, and that's how we populate that element. Okay, so that would be negative 3 times 4, which is negative 12. And then plus that, a 5 times a 1, so we have to add 5 to that, 5 times 1. The product, you add the sums of the product, you add the products. Alright, well, you just keep repeating the process. So let me fill this in, and then we'll get an answer here. So we got, you probably can figure this out too. So we get 42, and we're going to add to that a negative 2. And then we have 7 times 1 plus 1 times 1, and 7 times 4, and we're going to add to that 1 times 1, which is just 1. That's a 28. Okay. And then here we go. We're doing this one, and then times it by that, and then times it by that to get the last row here. 1 times 6 is 6, plus a negative 4. Negative 2 times 2. 1 times 1, plus 1 times 2. 1 times 4, plus 1 times 2. Okay, and our answer is, we have a 12, a 2, an 8, a negative 28, a, what is that, 2? And that's negative 12, so that's, what am I doing, negative 7, right? I can add. And then we have a 40. Oh, I didn't make my thing big enough. Well, that's okay, we can do this. So we have 40. We have 8. We have 29. 2. 3. 6. Finish that off right there, like so. Oh. There. Filling it in. And I could do, no, that's all right. So there's my answer right there. Okay. Ta-da! Alright, if you got that, great. If it had too many elements in it, sorry, let's do a simpler one. Here's another example. How about we have matrix A is a 3 by 2 with these elements in it. And we're going to multiply it by matrix B until you get comfortable with this. I think setting it up the way that little template was is helpful. We have a 2 by 2. Oops, hang on one second. I guess the numbers don't really matter, but, well, I cannot tell. I have an example right here in front of me, and I'm just going to copy it. So we have 4, 7, 6, 8. Okay, so can we multiply them? Oh yeah, it's easier to see it here. 3 by 2. And then this one over here is a 2 by 2. And 2 and 2, yes, they're the same. We can do it, and the answer is going to be 3 by 2, so let's do that. We have a 3-row, 2-column. Let's do it. Change color. So, first row, first column, first row, first column. That gives us here, we have a 4 times, that's a 3. 3 times a 4 is 12. 12 plus that is 0. So what is 12 plus 0? And then what do we got here? So this one right here is the first row, second column. We have the first row and we have the second column. So let's do the same thing. We have 3 times 7. We have 21. We have 21 plus 0. 21 plus 0. Over here, second row, first column. Second row, first column. So we take 1 times 4. We have 4. We have 1 times 6. We have, what is that? Again, 4 plus 6. 4 plus 6. Next, this row, this column, 1 times 7 plus 1 times 8. That gives us 7 plus 8. That's 15. And then again here we got, this one is the third row, first column. Here's the third row, and here's the first column. And then for this one we have the third row and the second column. We have 5 times 4, which is 20. We have 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. We have 20 plus 12. And lastly, we have 7 times 5. 7 times 5 is 35. We have 8 times 2 is 16, so we had a 35. And I said 16, so let's add that up. Let's do this old school, baby. 11, and 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there's our answer matrix. We have 12, 21, 10, 15, 32, 51. And so we are on day 3 here of our unit. Okay. And I guess I didn't update my outline, but if we're going to keep it consistent with my numbering system, I guess this would be 2.2.1, and this would be 2.2.2, and this would be 2.2.3, if you will. Just that's what I numbered them on the video. So tonight's homework, or actually I gotta stop saying that. That was your homework. Take lessons. I hope you got something out of that video. I hope the multiplying was pretty straightforward. And when we come into class, we are going to work on these problems. See you then.